Every well-coached team makes adjustments in the postseason, and the Heat are no exception. Following the blowout loss to the 76ers in Game 1, the Heat came into Game 2 with a plan to slow down the hottest team in the NBA. Not only did they do just that, the 76ers scored 103 points in Game 2 compared to 130 points in Game 1. The Heat managed to steal home court advantage by tying their first-round series up before they go to Miami to host Game 3 on Thursday. It's now on the 76ers to make the necessary adjustments to regain home court advantage. To understand how they got into this position and what they need to do to put themselves ahead again, let's take a closer look at what the 76ers had success with in Game 1 and why the changes the Heat made defensively in Game 2 were so effective. What happened in Game 1? Ben Simmons stole the show. In the first postseason game of his career, the rookie went off for 17 points, 14 assists, 9 rebounds and 2 steals and 34 minutes on the court. Simmons shot only 5 for 13 from the field and committed 5 turnovers, but he set the tone on both ends of the floor and fell 1 rebound shy of accomplishing something the NBA hasn't seen in the playoffs from a first-year player since 1980. Winning a first-round series often comes down to which team has the best player, and Simmons was clearly that player in Game 1. The Heat chose to defend Simmons as many teams did during the regular season, by backing off him in an attempt to keep him out of the paint, where he scored all but 30 of his field goals on the season. As much sense as it makes on paper, doing so allows Simmons to survey the court like a quarterback without any pressure from the defense, while J. Redick, Dario Saric, Ersan Ilyasova, Marco Bellinelli and Robert Covington run around screens and make strong cuts toward the basket. It resulted in Simmons making these sorts of passes, with 11 of his 14 assists coming either at the rim or on the three-point line. That's simply too much space to give one of the best facilitators in the NBA when he's surrounded by 4 shooters and cutters. Simmons' passing had a huge impact on the outcome of Game 1, as he had a hand in Redick, Saric, Ilyasova, Bellinelli, and Covington scoring a combined 99 points. The 76ers are going to be a tough opponent for anyone to deal with when Simmons dishes out 10-plus assists, and their role players carry them in the scoring column. Backing off Simmons also gives him a running start when he does make a move toward the basket. As good of a defender as Josh Richardson is, there isn't much the 6'6" guard can do when Simmons gets a full head of steam. Simmons is too strong and too long for Richardson, or any other guard on the Heat for that matter, to prevent him from getting all the way to the rim once he gets downhill. It was a similar case in the post, where Simmons used his size advantage to attack Richardson and Dwyane Wade several times throughout the game. As the Heat learned in Game 1, the balance between giving Simmons enough space and too much space is a delicate one. They did a much better job in Game 2. So, what changed in Game 2? While Simmons had another strong individual performance in Game 2, a pair of adjustments helped the Heat slow him and the 76ers down just enough in the first half to tie the series up. The first adjustment the Heat made was having James Johnson act as the primary defender on Simmons. Whereas Johnson only defended Simmons for 26 possessions in Game 1, he defended the 76ers rookie for 45 possessions in Game 2. Johnson didn't stop Simmons from scoring a team-high 24 points, 15 of which came in the second half on an efficient 7 for 9 shooting, but he is much better suited to match up with Simmons physically. Having someone who can at least battle with Simmons in the post and on drives means that he didn't have to help off as much as they did in Game 1, allowing them to be a step closer to their assignments on the perimeter. After making 18 of their 28 three-point attempts in Game 1, the 76ers made only 7 of their 36 three-point attempts in Game 2. Even though many of those misses were uncontested, the Heat had more success defending the three-point line on Monday by using their quicker guards to chase Philadelphia's shooters around in the half-court. The difference between how they defended those players in Game 1, taking the first and second option away on those sets, forced the 76ers to make plays deep into the shot clock. As 76ers head coach Brett Brown told reporters on Tuesday, it led to a number of possessions where they had no idea what we were doing. Close quote. The second adjustment the Heat made in Game 2 was they didn't give Simmons nearly as much space to work with. There was a noticeable difference, with the Heat pressuring Simmons far beyond the three-point line instead of backing way off him. There was one particular exchange when Justice Winslow, the Heat's second most used Simmons defender on the night, picked Simmons up the full length of the court and eventually drew an offensive foul. Redick explained after the game that being physical with Simmons got the 76ers out of rhythm in the second quarter when they scored 13 points on a miserable 4 for 21 shooting from the field. The 76ers went on to outscore the Heat in both the third and fourth quarter, but it wasn't enough to overcome the lead the Heat built up in the second quarter. We watched tape in Game 1. They basically had James Johnson or Justice Winslow in the paint on every play, backed up, Redick told Rich Hoffman of The Athletic. This time, they were physical with him. He adjusted and played a fabulous game. I think initially we just got out a little bit of a rhythm in the second quarter. We just weren't in anything offensively. Close quote. It'll be interesting to see if the Heat can contain either Simmons or Philadelphia's three-point shooting again as the series progresses. Do one or the other, and the Heat might be able to hang with the 76ers. Fail to do either like in Game 1, and they don't stand much of a chance. What can we expect in Game 3? To Redick's point, Simmons and the 76ers made their own adjustments in the second half and nearly pulled off the comeback. It should give them the confidence they need to bounce back in Game 3 when they look to regain home court advantage with a win in Miami, especially now that they know what they can expect offensively from the Heat. Joel Embiid might also be in uniform for Game 3, which would change their offense dramatically. The 76ers have run everything through Simmons in the opening 2 games of the series, but Embiid was their primary playmaker throughout the season. It's why Simmons saw his usage rating drop from 24.8% with Embiid on the court to 19.2% with Embiid on the bench. As talented as Simmons is, Embiid is their offensive superstar. Embiid's ability to create his own shot in the post, where he generated 39.7% of his offense during the regular season, will certainly help the 76ers when the Heat take those first and second options away, considering Simmons has been their only playmaker thus far in the postseason. Embiid has yet to be cleared for Game 3, though, so the 76ers might have to figure out how they can get their offense back on track without him. They've proven they can, but we'll soon find out if the Eric Spoelstra and the Heat have some more tricks up their sleeves.